Well, it looks like the pro-peace candidate is not being too peaceful. If we look back at some quotes, the war would have never started if I was president. I am the pro-peace candidate. Well, the United States has entered war with Iran, the New York Times claims. If we look at a Republican response, Representative Thomas Massie has stated that the actions by President Trump's administration to bomb Iran several times, 3 different times, on June 21st, 2025, were unconstitutional. So what that would mean is that it would be violating congressional oversight and congressional approval of declaring war on another nation. So, if we look at the foreign policy of the Trump administration, a few different actions likely violated federal law as well as constitutional law when carrying out the strikes on Iran, as well as previous strikes on Yemen. So, anyways, attempting to track the Trump administration's stance on the war in Iran has been quite challenging. If we look back just a few weeks ago, the U.S. was negotiating with Iran on a deal, and then we saw that Israel, in fact, striked Iran several times, and they went back and forth on strikes. And now the U.S. has joined in on those strikes. And the Trump administration has confirmed that they partnered with Israel on the strikes on Iran. And on top of that, this is all the executive branch. So we're looking at the executive branch partnering with Israel on striking Iran, totally ignoring congressional authority in the role of any of this. If I'm looking at this objectively, it's been challenging to understand why Trump went from negotiating with Iran to then striking Iran. And if we look back even just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, Trump was saying that it was going to take around 2 weeks for him to decide what the administration's policy will be on Iran. But yeah, Trump's predictability when it comes to foreign policy has been challenging to predict. So what I can really only say is expect the unexpected. And what I'm going to assume is that Trump will most likely act on what he's feeling in the moment, on his personal feelings, and that the bombings are likely to continue as long as Israel is also supporting that effort. And what I'm curious is what the international response will be, what other powers like the United Kingdom or other nations will say in response to this military action by the United States. So overall, the U.S. has striked Iran, and it has been confirmed that it was in partnership with Israel. Again, I'm looking into seeing what the international response will be to these U.S. military actions. I'm also wondering what congressional reaction will be. Of course, one can expect that the opposition party, the Democrats, will be opposed to any military action by the Trump administration without congressional authority. I'm assuming that the libertarians within the Republican Party may have some criticism, like Thomas Massie, but I already saw leadership within the Republican Party, such as Mike Johnson, supporting these actions. But again, they're likely illegal, but congressional action on this violation of federal law as well as constitutional law is unlikely because the action is done by a Republican president with a Republican majority in the House and Senate. Another thing that confuses me is that just a few days ago, Marco Rubio was attempting to distance the administration from military action in Iran. But now there is full-on bombings. So it's appearing that there isn't consistent communication throughout the Trump administration of what actions will happen regarding foreign policy. Because if you're looking at Marco Rubio just a few days ago, again, he's stating that military action is unlikely to happen because the U.S. is attempting to prioritize American lives that are in Iran. I'll be tracking this. Thank you for watching, and if I missed anything, please let me know. Bye.